Welcome to Her Stories, a podcast from Rela Women's Foundation that explores topics on sexual orientation, characteristics, gender identity, and expressions, including issues of lesbians, bisexuals, and queer persons living in Uganda.
Anti-homosexuality legislation has been happening before. This is not the first time. We first had it around 2009, 2014, 2013, where in 2013 the bill was introduced to Parliament and passed in 2014 by the President. But then again in that same year 2014, our court made a decision to nullify it and remove it. So we see it coming back again in 2023, where the Honorable Basai brought it back to Parliament with harsh laws like death. And so the President signed it on 29th Monday 2023, which shall stay in history forever. We see harsh penalties, like a person convicted of aggravated homosexuality will be sentenced to death. Person who commits the offense of homosexuality will have 20 years in prison. A person convicted of promotion of homosexuality, 20 years in prison. A person recruiting children into homosexuality, 20 years. A person who has committed the attempt of aggravated homosexuality, 14 years. This is if you're arrested once for homosexuality, you go serve your time and you come back to community, and then they arrest you again for the same thing. That's aggravated. You stay there for a long time. That's leading to death and life. And also, child found guilty of homosexuality, 3 years. So those ones who are saying they are minors and they can't be arrested, sorry for you, you'll be arrested. Media houses that publish materials that promote homosexuality, the fine is 1 billion and license revoked for 10 years. So if you're an organization or any media company and you're promoting homosexuality, your license would be revoked for a period of 10 years. And we know in Uganda what that means: never allowed to operate again. So I want to know, what are your thoughts on this as you, as a person who belongs to this community? Or as we found out, this bill does not only affect us but also the general community. So because imagine your campuses, you're having a roommate, and then your neighbors will be like, these ones are homosexuals. Or like what of those hostels where people share rooms, like they may be straight but they will still be convicted as that. Or if you're living with your young sister or your auntie's child and they get to know you're a lesbian, let's say, the neighbors will say you're trying to promote lesbianism or gayness in this young child. So let's discuss about this and talk about, in your own opinion, what does this speak to you?
Equality bill that was passed recently by the President. We have to understand that this bill was first introduced in Parliament by, it was Bahati. Yeah, it was Honorable Bahati then in 2009. That was on 14th October 2009 when he introduced the bill. But there were people who spoke against it. Remember, Dr. Sylvia Tamale gave a speech about that particular bill that was tabled then. And it sort of went silent until it was brought back in 2013 and finally passed in 2014. When it was passed, still, it was appealed, they went to court, and it was cancelled. And then we see it being brought back. When it was brought back, in my head, personal opinion, I thought this is like the same thing. It's been happening. They're not going to sign it. It's going to be there. We're going to get scared. Then it'll get thrown in the bin. But alas, it got signed this time, and the consequences are dire. I don't know if I should say we should pray for ourselves, because apparently we don't believe in God, we are sinners. So I don't know what to say, but we just hope for the best. Now that there is an appeal, we hope it gets thrown out again.
Okay. For me, in my opinion, this bill is meant to silence us as a community, as human rights defenders, as organizations that protect the human rights of LBQ persons and LGBTIQ persons. But then furthermore, it's meant to silence the work that we do. When we look at people are talking about morals, when we look at people are talking about the culture being protected, we wonder if at all we have not been a part of this journey ever since time memorial. So are we trying to say that queer human beings have just started existing today? We have continuously seen people being expelled out of schools. Like, we have known that they have existed even in the times of Namagunga or Nabisunsa being schools coming up. At that time, there were still people that were expelled for same-sex relationships. But in the end of the day, we look at right now, people are trying to be too shocked about what is happening. And for me, why I say it is on a mission to silence us. It's because when we look at everything that has been passed, it is meant to make us quiet. Organizations are going to get closed. Human rights defenders are going to get arrested. As soon as you say, hey, I am lesbian, you're going to get arrested. Like right now, no one wants to know about the human in the humanity. Everyone is just looking at the sexual in the humanity, regardless of what we bring to the table as queer persons.
Thank you. About that, I really wish they would look past the sexuality and look at the human part of it, because before being a lesbian, before being gay, first of all, I'm human. I have red blood. So does the heterosexual, so does everyone else. I wonder why this bill has been so important, ignoring everything that is happening in our country. The poor roads, I don't know how my sexuality affects the environment. I don't know how my sexuality affects the job opportunities. I don't know how my sexuality affects anything. So I'm really disturbed by why they decided that this is the period we have to work on this, and they put in a lot of effort. Like, everyone attended that day, we have to pass this. It was like a celebration. Then they tell us this is a habit of the white. This is an induction of the American way of life. I mean, if we so hate the whites and the American way of life, why then are we saying we are Christians? Who brought the Christianity to Uganda? Why are we believing in their religion? If we so much hate everything white, why are we in clothes? We should move naked. Because exactly, why is it taught in schools? I really don't know how we got here, but I think this was uncalled for.
I think it's more of the selective hate, like just selecting, and they're using the part of children, so they know how to target. Like, everybody cannot really, you can, because being with a child, it's sensitive, it's a sensitive topic. Yeah, so I just don't like that bit. And yes, I believe there are pedophiles. I have heard there are pedophiles, but why are we taking the bullet for the pedophiles? Like, let them come and choose. You're a pedophile. They've seen the child. There are records, there are medical records, everything. And then we get that pedophile, but don't let us take the bullet for the pedophiles. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I also want to add on to the point of, regardless of them being so many laws that they are passing, just like a human being mentioned, right now it's like a celebration of, oh, they have passed the anti-homosexual bill. But we forget that besides just this one bill, there are also so many other bills that they have passed on the same day that are still affecting the human rights or even the rights of citizens in Uganda. But us as citizens of Uganda, we are focusing on one bill like this because we find it less threatening and more easy to do what? It's more easy for us to popularize in a way that everyone can just scream about it, but no one can even act onto it. No one can even hold the perpetrators accountable. They're not going to find me in my house having sex with my girlfriend. No, neither are we going to even go to a border stage and start doing anything from there, like making out. Why would they? How are they even going to find us in the first place? So first of all,
for me, I find it really absurd and kinda annoying. It feels the law is really harsh, but also stupid in some way. I don't know how people from other countries are looking at us, because all the reasons that they are giving for bringing out this law are too lame. The first one is pedophile. I don't know why queer people are so sexualized. Like the moment you say you are a lesbian, they first think of you in bed, you with a kid. Like they see us as these wild animals. Like we're always wanting sex. Like it's absurd, really. And when we sit down, the bitter part of it is that people don't want to be informed, especially our leaders here. Like you would want to sit them down and tell them, fact is, like 99% of pedophiles are the heterosexual people. But they run away from all those facts and act blind, and they want to pass the law in the name of queer people are pedophiles, queer people are rapists, queer people have HIV, queer people want to spread HIV. Queer people are getting this from, yes, we're just like this easy target. And then they like to use religion. And then there's some people who say Jesus is love. And then there's some people who are talking about death, killing other people. And then there's some people who have commandments. And one of the commandments is never murder. So it's really absurd. And I don't know how we are looking as Uganda, because I feel like even those countries, when they read through this law, they're like, oh my God, these guys are so ignorant and they need help. And the fact that there are very many big things that are going on, like the expired courses. but when you talk about this, I don't even know, it's a big deal. And the politicians got to know about this, and then they said, oh, this could help us, because when they brought out this law this year, there was that issue of the iron sheets. But then when they talked about homosexuality, everyone forgot about it, apart from the few. And then when you talk about the iron sheets when this is here, they'll be like, bro, can't you see that there are homosexuals here? And I feel like they just want us to hide, but we still remain children of the soil of Uganda, because President Museveni once made a comment and said, keep yourselves there, like be quiet, don't show it, don't overshow it. Like before, in 2009, queer people came out and made queer bars. They brought the law. We want you to die, stay silent. Then 2013, same issue, people were loud, then they put it down again. Then now queer people are everywhere on TikTok, of course. They're like, no, this is too much, you guys should be. And then when you talk about it, they're like, oh, queer people are so sensitive, they love attention. But who does not? Everyone, like when you say you need SR or HR services, is that seeking for attention? It's just a need, it's your right. So I don't know, like we need to sit down and give the parliament people whom they say they went to school, and we teach them from rights, and then we teach them humanity, and then we teach them the Bible. I don't get, but I'm sure we look stupid.
I don't get it when you say that we are loud, we are everywhere. I believe I have an equal right, just like every other person. My being queer doesn't stop me from using TikTok. Why don't they tell those? We've seen people show us like make out heterosexual people on live videos on TikTok. How come no one has done anything about that? Why is it me who is just talking? Actually, you might not even do anything that connects to your sexuality, but just because you appear a certain way, they'll look at you and be like, "Bah, like, what is the big deal?" it is really, really disturbing.
In addition, I see like this bill, first of all, if you're in a family and they get to know your life is ended, you want to be accepted in that village again, and we look at you not being accepted in school, unemployment, because if they're closed organizations, no meetings, there's nowhere for you to share things, no TikTok, and then we look at homelessness. They said if it's a landlord and they know that you're gay and they still allow you in their houses, 7 years in prison.
Someone once told me, if you want to be queer and be loved by your family, be rich. Yeah. They will never mind your queerness or anything because you're rich. It's like paying a queer tax or something. Like if your family has a problem, they'll call you and you'll be willing to give them whatever they need because you're seeking acceptance. And if you're queer and broke, my dear, that is when the queer really bites.
So which brings me, like with the bill, like they said, if you're not rich, you can't be accepted. And then look at how being in homelessness, you can't get a job right now because the law is there.
Well, what I think is that I think the laws that have been passed by Mr. President Museveni are quite harsh. They are really harsh, especially when you talk about the lives of people being involved and that people have to die. Well, I don't second the fact that people have to die because of what they were found doing. I think if the government really wanted to tackle this issue, it should sit down with the people that they think have a problem and have a very elaborate kind of talk with them and get a solution, a solution rather than having to put up death sentence for what they think is not right, And so my main point is that I think the laws that have been passed are very harsh,
Besides the law being passed, we look at the death sentence as something that is not even recognized in the penal code or in the constitutional law. So how is that even going to happen? Why are queer persons worse than pedophiles, worse than murderers, worse than thieves, that we are the ones that deserve a death penalty and not every other aggravated violent case that happens in the country?
I want to add on to what they were saying, right? So the death penalty just kicked it off because I remember the times in Kampala or Uganda we had terrorists. Recently, people are bombing, but we never get to know what happened to them, what the reason was. They just come up with a story and they cover it up. But I believe that they should investigate more, use this effort, these resources, investigating people living their lives and trying to live a safe life and a healthy life for themselves. Then for them to go and
you front religion and children as a reason as to why you're passing the bill. Like seriously, don't queer people have children? You're fronting religion, telling us how homosexuality is bad, where was it written in the Bible? You tell us about Sodom and Gomorrah. We've read the Bible, it wasn't about homosexuality. I think they should stop they should stop covering their sin. I call it their sin because why punish someone who hasn't punished you? My sexuality hasn't taken anything from you. I do my business with a consenting adult. I'm not raping them. How is it even an issue? And now that it was passed, did it work on our roads. Okay, yeah, the bill was passed. Now our roads are very, very safe. The bill has been passed. There will be no more killings. Thank you. Uganda Singapore.
It's funny. I don't want to go into this like really deep because it's a very, very deep topic. When you look at also the anti-homosexual bill and the hatred, the homophobia, it's funny how it was also brought by the whites. Is it called Lively? He's called Lively. Yes, that guy. I feel like the whites really have us. Because there's a way we say we're avoiding the whites and their thing, but it's them who brought it. These niggas are really good at divide and rule. You get? Because now in the USA and other countries that are developed whereby all this is allowed, they are dividing the queer community. How? They are removing the transgender people from it and make it look like they are insane. And yet, remember, they found queer people solid, all the alphabet, but now they're now removing these ones. And then it's not shocking that now the gay people and bisexual people are the ones who be like, yeah, by the way, those guys are weird. So the divide and rule thing is really like whites love it when they do something and then there is chaos. That's what they want. They feed on that. But now it's so hard for people to see it. Like, we talk about being patriotic as we are one nation, Uganda, all that, but then they bring out this and make some other group look crazy and weird so that you guys are now fighting yourselves. Yeah, so really, instead of watching out for the queer people and making it seem like it's a white thing, let's watch out for the colonialism coming back again.
I remember when the Church of Uganda said, like, Uganda from the Church of
I wanted to also just talk about queer parenting. But so when it comes to queer parenting, it's like they are saying queer human beings have no wombs to give birth. They have no sperms to give birth. We have no knowledge on how to create family or even the capacity and capability to create a family unit that we understand as queer persons. Because why look at a queer mother as someone that is grooming their child to bring them up into being queer as well? We have all grown up in heterosexual homes, but guess what? I grew up a lesbian woman in my heterosexual family. Why didn't they groom me to become heterosexual if that is how things work? If at all people in the queer community, for example, people in the heterosexual community compromise and not even compromise, bring in the issue of correction or rape to say, I am going to correct you from your problems in the name of raping me, and yet these people that even cause this kind of chaos like rape, defilement on us queer young children, nothing happens to them. You go to police to report and the report that it's not even going to be a valid report because guess what? You're just a child and you're a queer child at that. So it's just like we are normalizing bad manners by bringing innocent people to cover up the bad manners that are already existing.
You know how many children are being abused by their straight parents and uncles and cousins, and no one is saying anything about it. But now they even tell you don't even talk about it. If you do, how will people look at our family? Like, seriously. And because we are gay, we are a threat to our society? Like, really?
Another concern for me is the mental health of the queer individuals and queer persons in the community. We have already been facing high numbers of suicide, anxiety, stress, depression, but now we wonder how more this is going to increase, because if at all we look at the numbers that have already been going up, and now we are now already being criminalized literally a whole human being is illegal to just breathe, to have a home, to have a job, where is that leading us? To a lot more depression, a lot more people leaving the country, a lot more people committing suicide because they are scared and they are worried that this is not the space that they belong to. Where does Uganda, where does the president expect us to go as queer citizens? I like what someone said, calling us the children of the soil. Like, we are children of the soil because this is where we are born and this is where we shall be buried. In the end of the day, there is no one that is going to come out of the blue and say, hey, you go and be buried in Kenya, you go and be buried in London. How? This is the only place that I know, and regardless of whether I die in another state, I will still be buried here. So they cannot get rid of us regardless of what they try to do.
Who remembers what happened the day that bill was signed and America revoked all the passports of the people that were involved, and the way they were complaining about their passports being raised? Why would you feel so bad about going to a country that you say is promoting whatever you don't want, a country that is promoting bad manners? Why do you feel bad that they've stopped you from going there? Why do you even want to go there? Stay in your country where you've put laws to keep your good manners. And
that's what I'm saying.
No, they said that Basara was like, if they have refused those 2 passports of ministers, they should revoke all passports and visas of all Ugandans.
Including that of the president.
Yeah, even him himself. Though he says those people don't.
We have already seen the increased numbers of human rights violations that happen within the community. As a community paralegal, we have worked on so many cases, and so many cases are still raising. And previously there was nothing that would even protect what? Queer individuals. Now, with such a law being passed, where are the human rights violations going to end? How people are just going to be killed and no one will care, because guess what? That is a queer person. Someone can randomly go and say that someone already mentioned that.
It doesn't matter whether queer
Exactly, because in the end we forget that this bill can also be used against a heterosexual person.
The minister himself.
Exactly, because in the end of the day, people like Kadag have been already accused of being queer because they've never seen them with a man. Now imagine, right, or kids, but imagine right now. So the bill literally affects her if she's taking care of any child in her presence, and people just there past the rumor that she's queer. Definitely she's also going to go in jail. So again, this bill affects our rights as human rights, affects our rights as human beings and as citizens of Uganda. Another thing is the closure of the organizations that support queer persons. These organizations that we run have filled in the gap that the government has failed to fill in. The gap of health services, the gap of access to medical, I've already mentioned medical services, access to housing, access to jobs. The government is not doing anything to solve these problems, but these CSOs say, let me rise up and help my fellow community members. We shall not die because of simple malaria. Let us have drop-in centers. We shall not die because of homelessness. Let's have what? Rehabilitation centers. But in the end of the day, the work that we are doing to support our communities is being looked at as promotion and recruiting of queer persons, which is a very, very, very undermining factor on the work that we do as organizations that operate in Uganda. One last one is the displacement of queer individuals. I sympathize and worry most with the people that have been chased away from home, the people that have been chased away from jobs, the people that have been chased away from school, the people that are denied access to medical health care just because of their masculine representing bodies as women or their feminine representing bodies as men. in the end of the day, this kind of discrimination not only causes chaos amongst the community, but it also causes death. It also causes a lot of anger amongst us, people that are already being silenced and cannot speak up for our rights, because if we dare speak up, we are promoting.
Every activity we had, every celebration, celebrating our queerness in our own way. The only celebration we have is going to be affected, like we can't do that.
It doesn't only affect us, it affects a big percentage of people, because queer or not, I buy from the people that sell in my community. Queer or not, my money still remains the currency of the country. So whatever they are doing will affect everyone in the long run. Yes, they are celebrating the passing of the law, but it will pain them in the rear together with us.
I saw a meme or something that was serious of someone drew a picture of cartoons of boys watching football, like how you call over your fellow boys and then you're watching football together making noise, but it's only boys. And then let's say the neighbor goes and reports homosexuals there. Of course, when they find only men, all of them are going to go. And yet you might find in that room there will only be like heterosexual people, but they'll also face those issues. And now I feel like very many politicians are supporting this because they feel like they'll beat other politicians. Like when it comes to elections, the other one will just go and buy some newspaper and tell them, write about this person that they are homosexual, take a picture of you with a fellow man, and then you're not voted. So for them, they go through like that. They want to use it to their advantage, but it's so sad that the public is not noticing. They just want to ban us. Like you go to church, you want to talk to your God and feel at home. Ogenda ogida bakwocha. Twocha stand, your MC agafa, die. Uganda tajja kutama. How do you even go back to church? That's why I saw someone making a comment saying that we did not leave God, but we left church, because it makes a lot of sense.
My lessons are going to our lawmakers.
Wait. As queer organizations, we also offer a lot of support in the economic sector of the country, which includes paying taxes for every individual that works in our space. So if at all apparently we are illegal, so even the country that is receiving our taxes is literally promoting homosexuality, because where are they taking money from us? We should literally operate free. Okay, we are literally not allowed to operate already, but yes, if we are not accepted to operate, let them not get any money from us, from any kind of taxes, from any kind of donor, or from any kind of funding. Let Uganda just stand by itself and say every queer person should not pay what? Should not pay taxes. So when I'm going to go and buy my sugar, I should buy sugar at 3,000 because exactly, I'm a lesbian and I don't want to promote homosexuality because with my money, so let me just pay half price and take off the taxes.
It reminds me of that time, I don't know if I'm allowed to speak this, when we were raided outside, and then that woman said, you guys made my house, Baba, you put bad omens in my house. I had no idea. I wish she gave us the money back. And she gave us the house.
Even ask why I should go and talk to my imam. The money that they have given me might be cut.
Our lawmakers, the parents, they have brothers and sisters who apparently, maybe they're gay or not, or look like gay people. So if this law, as you said, is going to affect everybody. So that day, I hope that day comes when it's one of your children they're accusing forcefully. No. Yes, imagine. Why are you passing the law in the first place if you feel like it's not going to affect your children, your people?
The passers, not the innocent children.
No, I'm saying I'm just waiting for that day. Oh my God. So yeah, like we're all siblings and humans and everything, and this one it's just outrageous. If you're going to use it to blackmail, but just know it turns around, somebody will still blackmail you also as a person, being a queer person or identify as a queer person.
It reminds me of a time when the sex workers were talking about their issues. Then Bad Black came out and said, ngenda kwogera buli gwe nali nguzizaako mu parliament.
The sex offences bill.
The sex offences bill, thank you. So I'm wondering if there is someone who can come, if someone woke up one day and was like, I'm gay and I'm going to speak about each and every influential person that has ever contacted me asking for some. I think the tables would turn. How happy I'll feel.
And even you can notice by the time the Speaker of Parliament kept on saying, those that don't show up to Parliament, it's because they are gay. Those ones that don't put up their hands, it's because they are gay. So even the intimidation she was putting in the Parliament was already pinpointing out the people that actually are gay. So definitely they could not even show up to pass this bill because it was already against them and they were already being threatened.
Do you know how many people are married very unhappily? Do you know, like, sometimes it leads to domestic violence because I'm in this marriage because I want to please the society. What will the society say about me if I don't get married to a man? I end up being there, but I don't love this person. I'm not even attracted to the person, not even one bit, but I have to be there. I'll end up cheating. This person will end up abusing me and
Be an ex-gay.
thing.
An ex-gay.
We find men that are married get out, go to the streets, get those young boys, do whatever they want to do with them, but they are hiding. I remember when the riots were going on, the protests and everything, the people that were holding placards of say no to homosexuality, people had evidence of them being homosexuals. People knew that people who were putting up placards of no homosexuality in Uganda. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Too much.
When you talked about people using members of parliament to put out their dirt, I remember in the article that Abasai had put out, it said anyone who falsely accuses another person of being homosexual and they are found out that the news is like you're guilty of saying the wrong things, they will imprison you too. Which side, like, because when Herof had gone to court to talk with some members of the parliament, they said you also can be put in this drama too, and they said let's put now this bill, let's add it to the articles that if you talk about someone falsely that they're gay, you're also going to be in prison. If you're guilty, they're going to imprison you, which means it's controversial really. The law is controversial. You're saying if you're caught, if someone says they are gay, they will pass, and they're supposed to talk about if you see someone and you know they're gay, tell the police that this person is gay and you know them. If you talk to the police and they found out that your news are false, they will imprison you, the reporter who has reported, and you with your bad mouth, they will report you. So it's controversial. Going to the last bit, what message would you have to people outside there, like people who don't have this chance to talk about this?
People out there, just a message I'm sending to them is just to be strong. Everything will come to an end.
I think there is still time for the government to look through the law that has been passed. Laws that have to do with taking away somebody's life should not be implemented at all, like at any cost, because nature is against it. I mean, everything is against it. The earth in which we live in is against it. We should all be like God, we want to preserve life, life of any form should be preserved, and so having people dying because of what they're doing is not the best. It's not the best direction to take as a nation. Uganda is called the Pearl of Africa for a reason, and it should stay that way. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
I want to I want to tell the Ugandans to keep safe, because it's affecting all of us. To keep safe, find a way. Yes, we cannot change who we are, but we be more security cautious. Yes, because in March, when all this started, when the bill was passed, we anticipated all this. We're like, what if? What happens? How are we going to move forward? Let us use the steps, the security measures and everything. Let us use it so that, because we anticipated this, now it is here. What are we going to do about it? And I want to tell a small story, but it's not a big story. So somebody told me they were talking to our border guy, and then he started, Msiaga. Like then my friend gave her opinion. She's like, you shouldn't judge people just like that, and she did not give the border guy the same energy, like, hey, to what, and then the border guy said, because you have an opinion that is different from their opinion, you are in trouble too. Because you might be, let me say, a pastor, heterosexual, but you're a pastor or a human rights person. But then you want to speak out your mind. You're like, no, I am not gay, I'm not queer, but this is inhuman. But your opinion is gonna get you in trouble too. So let's just keep safe and try to avoid even those conversations. And yeah, let's pray. Prayers and light and roses.
Okay, thank you so much. My message to the queer community and the LGBTIQ community at large, all I urge them is to be keen and watch out for every step that they take, who they call their friends. You can have as many friends as you can, but take much time to trust a few of them, because you never know at the end of the day, it's those same friends that might lead you into.
My last message to Ugandans is that, firstly, I don't mean to be rude, but I still remain a child of the soil of Uganda, and there are very many queer women in hospitals. I mean, women in hospitals pushing queer babies. Also remain me, the same person you laugh with, the person I sleep with or make love to doesn't make me any different from you. And as long as I'm not sleeping with an animal but a person, how bad does that hurt? Also, there's no need to exaggerate, like calling me the devil, wanting to hang me and kill me, all for what? Making love and getting orgasms. Thank you. Yeah.
My message to Uganda, my message to the queer community, my message to the religious leaders. Even Jesus came to save the sinners. So if you stand in your church and abuse, instead of maybe cautioning or giving the message that you want to deliver, I think you're wrong. Let's all be inclusive. I've been to a church where we prayed and the priest didn't even say a word about homosexuality or anything, but we all prayed and the service ended and we left. I don't think he lost anything by not blaming the homosexuals or the gays in the country. So let's be united. Let's be our brethren's keepers. Let each one help one. Know where each one of us is. Protect each other. That's my message.
My message to queer Ugandans is, first, be queer, be you, because guess what? A closet is not for a human being, it's for clothes. But then also, for those that are not yet safe coming out or safe being out of the closet, please stay in the closet until it is safe to come out of that closet. And then for those that are out of the closet, let us find all means to just keep safe. I cannot use the word of the heterosexuals where they keep on telling us tone it down. What does tone it down mean? Let's just be ourselves. let us just keep having good hearts. Let us keep doing our jobs. Let us keep living, because guess what? Because the law has been passed, that doesn't mean it's no longer business as usual. Your boss will still expect you at work by 9. You will still die, so everything still remains the same. It's life as usual. One love not hate, and then let's kill this bill.
My body, my choice.
My body, my choice. My vagina, my rules. I must have it so
In my conclusion, I would want to tell Ugandans that we are parents, we are someone's sister, we are someone's brother, we are someone's friend, auntie, uncle. Like, regardless of who we sleep with, we still have families we belong to. And also, we pay taxes. We have queer doctors, queer nurses, queer teachers, queer landlords, queer estate holders. So we are valuable. We are more than sex. We are more than sex. We are people. So, and thank you for enjoying with us. And these are opinions of people, not for the whole organization. Thank you.